Hey guys, it's Merrick, and I've got another game of commentary for you here today. This one is yet again on Planetside 2. This time we're on TR with the Watchman. For those of you that have watched me on Twitch at any point in the last few weeks, you'll note that I've had an issue with intermittent crashing. Well, I have been able to fix that issue, but one of the many things that I went through in an attempt to fix that was I reset all of my OBS settings. I thought that was related, it turns out it wasn't, but either way, I have actually gotten it fixed. However, the problem is, I didn't actually set everything back to normal before I got this recording, because I forgot about it and thought that I did. So we actually have voice audio from my stream in this recording, even though it is a local recording. There's not a whole lot I can do about it, and I will have it fixed for the next video, but we're going to have to deal with that for now. Running out of pre-roll rapidly, here's the loadout we're running today. Relatively standard loadout. I actually wind up changing it at some point. I believe I am running flak armor in the beginning of it, and then I change it up to nade bandolier because of the amount of vehicles that are around. But with that out of the way, let's finally jump straight into it. I start this session off showing up to a fight at Indar Kamare. We were actually grossly outnumbered, and I left this fight earlier because I didn't think we were going to be able to hold this under. There is a reinforcement wave of red coming from a different fight out at Quartz Ridge, so once I finished my break, I started my second session for the night here. I land at the Sunder, quickly tab back into game after getting everything started, and then try to peek some of these angles to see what I can do. I see a bunch of nades coming in from one of the doorways, so I quickly push out to try to get the guy throwing the nades, and while doing that, I see a bunch of people walking at me in a very straight line. I'm able to pick those guys up, I back off to dodge a few of the nades, and then re-peek the doorway cautiously. I see a few people looking at me, I'm able to pick one of them off, I back up just a little bit because there's a guy on top of the cliff, and I'm able to just get enough of an angle to take another guy out. From there, I reload, back up, try to head out the back of the area to get a better angle. Don't manage to pick up the infiltrator that went along the side, but I keep aggressively re-peeking this angle every time they look away from me. I'm able to get a little bit of it done. If I actually aimed better, I would have gotten a much better return from that. I do a little bit of looking around to make sure my other angles are clear. I re-peek out, and I'm able to pick off a guy at long range, and then as I reload, I try to head out the front. I see a lot of people stuck up on this closed corner. I'm able to get those cleared out, and there's a turret at long range. I can occasionally get the headshots to trade that out, but from this range and at this angle, absolutely not. As I back up into the Sunderer garage, I see another enemy Sunderer being rolled up trying to stop us. I aid everybody else in trying to take it out with a anti-vehicle nade and a rocket. The anti-vehicle nade actually gets the kill, and I get a whole bunch of free pickups for that. As I head back outside, though, I wrap around the side and I catch a light assault as he's dropping down the side. I go to push up to try to keep people off the ramp, and I see a few people that I am able to pick up, but this mana turret is still at the top, so I'm not able to take any extended or repetitive peeks. I back off, reset, and by the time I push up, we've actually made a little bit of a foothold and begun getting our way up the hill. So, I'm on a 15-kill rampage, and what better to stop that than a teammate? Being very pleased with the situation, I run back up the hill, back onto point, and manage to start running around looking for any purple pressure that is actually still here. I see a guy in the staircase, I try to take him out, eventually he does peek and I'm able to get the pick up, and then I head downstairs to hold one of the forward doors. I'm able to pick up this guy as he reses, and then I immediately head outside because I see people pushing up the side, and I don't think I'm going to get a whole lot at this door. I'm able to peek out, I catch a guy over the railing, and I try to push up to find a second, but he does manage to get behind the rock. I head back inside and try to push out onto point, but am rudely interrupted by a OS, so I sit inside and wait it out. Pushing back outside as the smoke clears, I see a bunch of them in that building, so I try to lob some nades to hold that doorway. Of course, an ally strafes into my first nade and denies that, but the second nade does find the door, just doesn't find any damage. I try to hold an odd angle, just so that I have a place to retreat behind, while also giving me a little bit of a boost so I can see better into the room. I'm able to get a few people, but I'm only able to make some leg shots, and I try to push over to the side to deny a push that seems to be gaining a lot of traction. I jump over to just aggressively chase this push, and there's a whole lot of nothing. So I go back inside and see if I can find another better position to set up on, and there's yet another OS. Heading back outside, now that the dust is cleared, I yet again take up a very similar position, but this time there's some guys on the roof that I actually have to take out. They have a good angle on me, but they're super exposed, so it's more just a race to pick them up before somebody else does. I keep trying to hold this angle because it'll allow me to fall off quickly to get some more cover, but there's not a whole lot pushing up despite the ridiculous amount of purple dots on the map. I do a little bit of rotating around, not finding anything else, and then there's a third fucking OS. Pushing back outside, they're trying to make the best use of the OS and get some ground. I'm able to get a few people from some off angles, throw some damage here and there, pick off somebody in the doorway, but it doesn't actually seem like they're making a whole lot of progress towards taking over the point. And as if that wasn't enough, Blue decided they didn't get to OS this point yet, so they throw their hat into the ring as well, and I take that as a sign to go to a different fight. I see what looks like a fight breaking out at Tarich, so I show up, take a few steps forward, get caught completely out of position by my own stupidity, try to fight someone at an angle that doesn't really favor me, and then die trying to retreat. As I get back up, they've pulled up their own Sunder next to ours, so I start landing AV nades on it, but they're pushing up from the side, and I don't get to get all my AV nades and rocket off before I get taken out. So from there, we move on to Tarich Tech Plant. I move from the Sunder up onto the second floor, just in time to see that there is a large push that seems like it's happening, so I just try to find a good position to help out with the defense. Even when I'm peeking over the ledge, I try to keep moving a little bit so that it's harder to land a headshot on me from some info coming out of stealth, and I see that there is push coming through the teleporters. I try to get an angle to where I can do some damage to it, and I get attacked by somebody on the other side. I see that he's getting rezzed, so I drop a nade to give him some trouble as he gets up, and then as I'm looking around, I actually see another infill on the other side. I can't find that kill, but I rotate back to watch this teleporter because they're going to keep coming through there, and it seems like they're also trying to get a little bit of a zombie walk going where they get some rezzes to get deeper in. So I continue to rotate around and clean that up, but when it seems like that push isn't coming anymore, I finally back off to reload. However, as soon as I do that, the other staircase immediately collapses and Blue begins to pour up onto the floor, continuing the zombie walk strategy, so I just stay back and try to get the pickoffs where I can. I eat a snipe from someone outside, but when I see the angle, I know it has to be outside, so I just heal up and try to rotate to the side. Wanting kills and not wanting to be in the middle of the fight where they're all looking, I decide to jump down onto this ledge here. I still wind up drawing some attention, but I'm able to successfully get a reload without getting pushed, and this other gentleman decides to push out and draw the fire. They take him out, thinking this place is clear. I peek out and catch a few more of them. I shoot someone on the other stairs in a blue camo, thinking they're an ally, or an enemy. Turns out they're an ally. And then right as I try to push up, someone comes out of stealth and tags me. I push back out and try to hold this angle, expecting another small wave of people to come in. Try to do some damage to the harasser, whiff absolutely everything, see that he's brought a lightning, decide it's not my fucking problem, and I go to push up. I'm able to take out this infiltrator that I saw earlier, which is actually also just a medic that had the phylactery respawn, and then I immediately get murdered by someone on the side, the infiltrator I was actually looking for. I get back up onto the second floor, try to run to the front to see if there's anything else happening, and it looks like that fight is actually over, so I decide to move on. The place I move on to, though, is an absolutely doomed Sunderer, which is probably appropriate because it's been at least 24 hours since I spawned on one of these, so I'm well overdue, and I immediately catch a free death. So from there, I head back to Scarred Mesa. I love fighting in this place, but this fight is a bit awkward. I managed to catch a bunch of them as they're pushing. They come up the stairs, which should be pretty much a free farm, but between myself being an actual ape and being unable to aim, and the fact that somebody from Blue has to log in and put their shield down because I don't believe TR thinks this is a good shield, they wind up just making it up the stairs mostly unmolested. I don't know whose idea this shield was. I don't think it was a great one. I could have put down a better shield for them if I tried, and I basically said as much. Even going so much as to go to Region Chat and ask if Blue put this shield down themselves. I will say, though, if I were just aiming better, I could have put a lot more punishment and slowed that push down a lot myself, but I whiffed a whole lot, and then once I got my second round of engagements, while I could have tried to hold more of them there, I got pretty much cock-blocked by that shield. However, coming inside here, I'm able to clean up a few more of them and actually clear this point out. I do a bit of rotating around because there's a whole lot of population in the Hex. I'm only able to pick up one more straggler, and then continuing to rotate around, I finally decide that there's not a whole lot of opportunity to really get kills here. I shoot at some planes, which I decided to cut from the video, and then I head somewhere else. This leads us to Dahaka Southern, and this time we're spawning at the point rather than out in the middle of nowhere. So I feel like this is going to go better. But when I walk outside, there's a whole bunch of enemy population and not a whole bunch of footing for my team, so it really doesn't, honestly. It is fucking time to save this building. Nope. After noping out of trying to push in, I eventually get bored of waiting and do try to push in. I take a bunch of damage, have to rotate out, and on my second attempt to run back in, I catch a poorly timed nade to the face and die for free. Walk back outside, immediately get shot by 63 people looking at the spawn room, and decide, maybe Scarred Mesa was better. I get to Scarred Mesa and see that there's a bunch of blue people staring at the spawn room, en masse. And turns out, while I was gone, the fight that wasn't actually there decided to come the fuck back. So I missed a good fight by going to there, didn't get a good fight at either spot, and now we don't have the spawn. Well, we have the spawn, but that's about it. So I try to hold here, get whatever pickoffs I can, and after a little while of getting bored, I do try to peek out to the side, just catch a bunch of bullets, and die. But with the continent coming to an end, most of the factions are more focusing on getting actual territory captured rather than good fights, if they were even looking for good fights, so there's not actually any even fights popping up anywhere. With that stated, we're going to bring this to a close finally, because there's not actually many more good fights in the session at all, and that brings us to a close with 47 kills in 20 minutes. It's still quite difficult to find good fights consistently enough to get a bunch of recording done, but I'm doing my best. I think in this session I made a lot of mistakes with overextending. When I was staying in the middle or back of the fight and using my accuracy to hit longer range shots, I think it was working out for me, but when I got pushed up, I was winding up taking a bunch of bad trades and overextending because of my general excitement when I get into combat. I also think a lot of times I could have performed better if I were actually being a little bit more clean with my resets and recoil control, but alas, I'm bad. There's probably more that I've done wrong and more that I can improve upon that you could spot if you've watched some of my other videos. But as always, let me know what you do like, let me know what you don't like, let me know what you think so I can improve my videos moving forwards. Thank you guys for your continued support, and I'll see you next time.